Let's have some more fun with this beater van. You know, I could literally make videos forever on this van, just adding little things. It's so fun. One of my favorite things to do is just grab either a sheet of plywood or a bunch of scraps and just come up with stuff. And I think that's because when you're building stuff for other people all the time, it has to be so specific and they have to know what it is. But when you get to just play, it's just so much more fun. But anyway, let's probably make this the final video, unless I actually use it to camp in, just to show you how that would be done. Otherwise, first of all, if you haven't seen all the other videos, I think there's 4, maybe 5 others. I got this van for free a couple years ago. It's been sitting. I finally decided to dive into my pile of scraps in the garage, all these project materials I've been hoarding for years. So I rebuilt the van with all scraps. The only thing I bought was some spray paint. I think I spent around 60 bucks so far. It had your typical metal shelves. I pulled them out, made them nicer, put them back in. Then I did a cool ceiling feature with corrugated plastic and some very thin, like wafer thin, cedar cladding. I had a couple leftover lights from my other van project, and then I made the bench that we can pull out that normally holds Milwaukee packouts if you're using it as a work van, but you can pull it out and sleep on it, use it as a bed if you want to use your van for other fun stuff. Obviously, you can dive harder into this. If you were to make it a real camper van, you would add ventilation, more power. Right now I'm powering those lights with a little converter for a DeWalt battery. But anyway, don't want to talk too much. That's just the intro. Let's do some little fun things. Maybe some, like, you know, I think on my list I have some kind of holder for caulk tubes, some kind of bar clamp for clamps, you know, storage things for a van, or van racking things. I'm not going to go overboard, because if I sell this van or pass it on to someone else, I'll let them customize it. This whole thing is just about, you know, building a skeleton of a van, and you can apply all the things that I've brought up in these videos to any van build that you do. Anyway, let's dive into, I think, video number 5, but I could be wrong. Ugh. Sun's not totally out. You're going to see some shadows. Sorry. Let's head to the back of the van. I used walnut scraps on this side just because it looked good with the black painted shelves. Again, not caring too much, so there's no edge banding, so it looks like regular plywood on the side, but the front is this cool walnut, only because I had it. Let's make something. I gotta grab my tape, but let's make a little, you know, box with holes in it to store tubes of caulk. Then up here, maybe I'll put a bar that we could store clamps on. In the middle, we'll figure it out as we go along, but just want to make some random stuff and have fun today. Let's see, we're going to be no bigger than 16, so maybe around 14, leave an inch on each side. Never max out, always have a reveal. It's one of my biggest rules. So what I have is, I still have a little bit of walnut. I'm going to use walnut on that walnut place. Otherwise, I have a little bit of the other 1/2 inch material. I've got some random everything in the back of the van, all the scraps that I haven't thrown out yet, but let's just see how big a tube of caulk is. This is just a bag full of all my hole saws. And I want to keep it pretty tight, but not crazy. Actually, that would be tight. Looks like 2 1/8. Okay, that's decided. Next, just cutting down to size roughly, then I'm going to move to the table saw, do all my miters, but let's get some rough cuts. I'm going to go a 5 1/2 inch tall. And let's say 3 1/2 for the top. That leaves a 1/2 inch for a front and a back, and then plenty of room in the middle to drill big holes. All right, table saw. I don't know how sharp this is or how bad it is. And we're on a small little narrow strip, so hopefully nothing breaks while I'm making 4 holes. It's only 4 holes, so clamped it with 2 clamps so it doesn't move. We're only 1/2 inch material, so again, I'm gotta be kind of careful here. And I just made some measurements. Get this closer to the edge for support. Because I already see it flexing, and I already can tell that this is not very sharp, so. Now what I could do, so look, we have blow out the veneer. So if this was something important like a vanity, I don't know if I'm in there, if this was like a bathroom vanity, once that pilot hole pokes through, I'd flip to the other side, get that circle cut out on my nice stuff too. So that's a good tip for anyone who doesn't know that that happens easily. You got to get both sides or you'll ruin something that should be nice. Obviously, don't care here. This is fragile though, that's for sure. Alright, so cut 4 holes, then we get to put it together. And off camera, I gotta make a bottom piece and a back piece. Doesn't matter to you. I promise I will never lie to you. I mismeasured when I was going along, so these last 2, I made the big holes, and the last 2 were too close. So I just went back and I made holes in between the others for any miscellaneous thing you want to drop in down the road. Now, that's part of the fun of not having a plan. If something goes wrong, you can just wing it, but let's put it together. All the pieces are mitered now. We have sides, so I don't know if you could see, it's going to be focused. This is, and see how messy all that blowout is on the back? But it doesn't matter. So we have mitered front, mitered side, and then the same thing over here. Mitered front and top and front. So we're going to go here, and then our front piece goes on there. I'm just going to glue it and nail it, pin nail it, whatever I have. By the way, another great tip is to anytime you're working with wood, making a bunch of cuts, if you have a chop saw or anything, have a bucket that you put your little pieces in right away. All your cutoffs, so you don't step on them and break an ankle, or so they don't get caught somewhere, or just so it's not a mess, but it's great. Keep a bucket tucked under your table. All right, let's put this together. Just to show you how nice it'll be. Cover up all those plywood edges, and I'm not going to be able to hold that while I stretch across. Yes, I am. I'm incredible. What? No. Son of a... Alright, let's glue it. Alright, got my pieces, including a bottom. I figure let's put the bottom on first. So this is my front. Gonna glue and tack that on. Easy. Remember, none of this is a big deal, so a silly project like this is great practice for you, for anyone, to mess around. My only worry is using too big of a fastener. I might switch to pins. These are brads. Alright, so now we can stand at least. Now let's get our sides on. And then we'll just plop the top right on there. Perfect. Maybe the top we'll use pins so that we don't have giant holes in the top. Not that it matters. Alright, this is easy. Especially if I sit it on the table. But I won't. Making sure that miter is nice, and it is. I want to hold this corner tight and hopefully not blow through anything. All right, I think these are 1-inch brads. Always move my fingers just in case something goes awry. This is a fun little nonsense project for sure. I don't think I say it enough. I don't get to do that enough to not care, I guess, is the fun part. Now, out of nails. Pause. These are only 3/4, but it should go enough. I'll hold it while that glue dries. Oh, that's straight a little bit. Should be okay. Let's see our moment of truth here. Dang, that's good. So we did that. That was easy, right? All our miters. Like I said before, as long as while you're working, things are square, it's going to be good enough that everything fits together. Isn't fine furniture. So it's good practice for anyone who isn't a furniture builder, which is most normal people, including myself. While I do have to make things nice at work, I am not a furniture builder. So like the people at that next level blow me away. However, I can build nice things that are normal. So there's normal nice, and then there's extraordinary nice. Anyway, let's sit this right on there. It's so satisfying to see that things fit nicely, and that's not even glued together. Let's show you that's just sitting there. So it's exciting to make something nice. Let's glue it and pin nail it. Grab my pin nailer. I cannot wait to clean out the van when we're done. Next, I didn't cut it back for this yet, so once I'm gonna have to cut it back to the exact size to fit this. I'm not even worried about spreading the glue. Just nestle this in there. And they're still a little raw, so we have to sand it, right? So I'm going to sand it, and then after I sand it, I'm going to take a screwdriver or something round and smooth and just push that edge, and that'll get rid of any little imperfections, also keep you from slicing your hand on it. So it's basically a little burnishing. We're going up and down, back and forth, smooth out that edge, get it super close together. It'll look like one piece. If I had enough material, I would have cut this nicely so the grain kind of matches up from the front to the top, but I wasn't paying attention. If this was like a cabinet or something, we would have tried to match the grain going around. Anyway, I'm going to sand it, cut it back, put it on, then we'll mount it. So if I wanted a nicer look, I would have made a French cleat on the back, a little angle, and then an angled piece on my mounting point, and then just hung it. But what you can do in the van is anytime you have a box or you want to screw through something, if you want to screw through a PVC to like hold tubes up or something for your caulk instead, just drill a hole right through the front. And now I can take a long bit and just put a screw through there into the back. And the holes don't matter because it's a van. Anyway, let's put this up. Remember, you can't use a level in a van, so I know this panel is in square to my shelving. So I measured off the bottom of that panel, not the floor, because the floor is lumpy because it's got a weird, it's got this mat, not plywood. So I put my tape 15 inches up on the right, 15 inches up on the left, made a couple marks. Now I'm just going to mount this to the marks. When I have nothing better to do, I'll come back and I'll put a little finish on this. This is General Finishes high performance gloss. In this case, I prefer the matte, but remember, what I had in my garage was gloss at the time. So let's screw this up. I'm not going to screw it up. Screw this in. I say screw it up all the time, and then when you say it out loud, it sounds funny. I don't screw anything up. I'm perfect. I have 1-inch screws here. Hopefully they fit. Yes. I'm going to get that started in here so I don't drop my screw. Just go straight in. Can you see? Next one. Can't say enough how fun it is to... First of all, if I overscrew that, it'll go right into my arteries and I'll die. It's so fun to just do random stuff like this. Alright. I don't know. I'm going to be in your way. No, not really. Alright. This is so simple. I have marks that you probably can't see. Am I in? Yeah. Will this fit, please? Oh yeah, no problem. Piece of cake. Alright. Just for spacing, let's throw some tubes in there. What else can I do? I said I wanted some kind of bar up here that we could clamps onto, because you always need to grab a clamp if you're in your work van. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. That's simple. That's going to be really easy. I'm just going to take a little chunk of actual solid walnut, make a little L out of it. So just screw it together and then screw that in. Simplest thing ever. Watch this. Just like that. Upside down, but clamp like that. This bottom could be a little smaller. If you didn't see, it's just solid walnut. Focus. Made an L. That's the seam. Screwed on the top. Glued it. And now, well, I don't have a clamp on me, but all my clamps can rest here, and they'll be easy to grab. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm going to give it the same reveal, which is about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch from the side there. That looks good to me. I'll get one in and then eyeball it a little better. That looks good. I've said it 100 times already. If I cared more about the van, all pieces that I make would be pre-finished before I put them in. But if you didn't see the other few videos, I've said it 100 times. This, despite how incredibly awesome it looks, this is carrying very little in this van because it's a beater, it's all scraps, and it's not even a van that I need. It was just given to me for free. So basically, this has just been for fun, like relaxing, almost like a hobby, instead of watching Netflix. Here's one I wasn't sure if I was going to show you, but I just made these things, and I'm going to be using a jigsaw. You probably can't see, it's so sunny out, to round that over. But I just doubled up some 1/2-inch plywood, cut a hole in it with the hole saw, and sanded it down. And what I'm going to do is mount this up top on my wall, on my blank wall on the passenger side of the van. I'm going to mount this up high, and it's for just delicate things to hold up high in the air. Like, so as a tile guy, I always have like the metal trims or the finished edges, and I'm always so scared when I pick them up from the store that something's going to fall on them when I'm driving and it's going to bend them and they'll be ruined. So this is just a thing up in the air that can hold long items. Also, if you were to go on a camping trip or something, you could probably throw a fishing pole up there. So I'm just always thinking of fun ways to double up on the utility. But anyway, I'm going to cut these with the jigsaw. I think you can see that. Yeah, I just made that mark. I'm going to sand it down, and then I'll make another little piece, let's see, to put on top. It's almost like a curtain rod holder to put on top, and then I'll screw this into the wall of my van. You'll see in a minute. By the way, if you start hearing music in the video, I think it's funny. First of all, I never want to overproduce these videos. As long as I'm the one doing the work, it's just going to be straight up info and what I'm up to. But if I do find a funny song, I do enjoy finding songs that make me chuckle to put in the background. You'll probably notice that. So if that didn't make sense, I'm just putting these way up here, kind of out of the way where you wouldn't see them, and then another one down at the end. But let's just say it was right there, and I can just thread something through. So let's put them up. Another eyeball situation. And I'm just going to the very top of my plywood because I know that is nice and straight or uniform. Yes, you can see. Okay. Back one. Now, before you comment, where are you? Focus on me, please. Before you comment, I realized that things would slide through here. You can wrap a tiny little bungee cord, a mini bungee cord around here, and then wrap it around whatever you're putting up there. Don't go thinking I didn't think of that. I'm very advanced. For example, since I have this stick here, things thread right through. I could come in, there's room. If it was 8 feet long, there's room to come in through the front or side door, thread it through, and then go in. So, mission accomplished with that. So I'm going to put those panels up in case that clip didn't film. I made panels for that black wall that I painted very quickly off camera. I just found a Rust-Oleum paint in the garage that I had for a handrail outside. So I rolled that quickly. At least it's clean looking now. I'm going to attach those now, not film it. It's not worth it. It's just more screwing panels onto metal. And by the way, this working on this van has gotten me excited to show you how my main van converts from work van to basically adventure mobile, camper, whatever you want to call it. So let's make a video doing that next. And then while I do that, I guess we might as well go on a camping trip. So that's fun. Hopefully you're starting to realize this isn't a channel about any specific thing. It's about my real life and whatever pops up in that. And that just happens to be the life of a dude who loves building things, designing things, making things look better, fixing things. So hopefully you're enjoying following along. I've said it before, but it's hard to say in every video. I've been sharing for years now. It's almost like 10 years on Instagram with all my work projects. That's mostly building bathrooms. And it's so hard to figure out how to portray that here because, you know, as I'm making this video, there's only 100 of you watching. And I'm so used to people knowing who I am and knowing, you know, my thoughts on quality and caring. So I don't know. Anyway, hopefully that comes across in all these videos. And that's how I want to approach everything I do in life. And I'm going to show it to you. All right. Bye.